Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing your daily Walking Dead video for today. In this one, we're going to start with me giving my thoughts on the TV series version of Carl being a pretty major disappointment. And spoiler warning, of course, if you're not caught up for the Walking Dead television series, which is to the end of episode 4, leading into episode 5, which is this Sunday. So, wanted to get my thoughts on this one. I'll put the link in the description to a new sneak peek. Chris Tanley linked it, so thanks, Chris. And you guys can have a look at it and see. It's a scene between Carl and Enid, as Enid is just getting ready to leave. She's going to climb the wall and everything and go to the hilltop as she wants to see Maggie. I think that's normal. Fight or flight response, and she's going to flight. Totally normal, especially after the guys harassing her with the balloons and stuff. And pretty creepy, weird, pedo kind of stuff. So absolutely for her, you can definitely see that being with a character, that she just wants to get the hell out of there wherever she ends up going. Doesn't really matter, you know, and you could make the argument that maybe it'd be safer out in the open, you know, with zombies around than versus with the saviors and Negan coming to visit every so often. So with this being such a heavy concentration on the two, especially with Carl, because he's got another sneak peek with Michonne, as I've given my thoughts on already in my predictions video for what I think we're going to see in episode 5, I thought I would get into this one a little bit. Yeah, I feel like the TV series version of Carl is quite a major disappointment at this time. I mean, not only has he didn't get some of those key moments from the Walking Dead comic book series, like, for example, this is kind of spoilers, but this chapter's been out for like probably close to a decade now, probably 7 or 8 years, where instead of the TV series version, in the TV series version you have Carol, who puts down Lizzie, because of Lizzie and Mika, they're girls in the TV series, which I thought was a nice touch, maybe better than the comic book series version of the brothers, which was Ben and his brother, I can't remember his name, was it Billy or something? I forget. Just so long ago, right? So, but anyway, the point stands that in the TV series version, you see Carol get that sequence, which is really good in the Grove, and you know, it makes Carol even more kind of badass, I want to say, in the TV series version. But they don't give it to Carl, and as a result, you know, he's not at the same kind of level, I want to say, as the comic book series version. Now, he has had other sequences where he kills the kid from Woodbury, and Herschel kind of doesn't agree with him on it. I actually did agree with him, and I thought that that was the right decision to make, because the kid had really, really busy eyes and was looking like he was going to try something. But really what I'm saying all around is, at this time in the series, for the TV series version, Carl just has not had the same amount of badass moments. There's some stuff coming up that's supposed to be around this time that it looks like he probably won't get either in the TV series version versus the comics. And it could just be because, like, in the comics it's easy to draw it and it can kind of be silly and that kind of stuff, but in the live action you have to like ask, how does Chandler Riggs look doing this scene? How does this feel? What does this look like? And maybe it just doesn't feel right when you're trying to do something like that in live action. I'm not sure, but either way, because they're giving some of these crucial parts to other characters, be it Carol or maybe Daryl or somebody else, it just, for me, is like, man, it really leaves a lot to be desired with Carl. Also, he's aging faster than he did in the comics, of course, as we can see. So that's something as well, too. So we'll see what they have to do with Carl in the future. They've really skipped over a lot of stuff, even the part where he gets the eye shot and everything with No Way Out. They did a time skip after that, and they didn't really dive into that. In the comic book series version, he gets the eye shot. We see him wake up. He's got amnesia. He asks Rick, where's Mom? He doesn't know where he is, and he just goes through some really tough times there after he gets shot and kind of doesn't know what's going on, and thinks that he's like waking up a couple years prior when his mom is there and everything, and really not knowing. So there's some really cool stuff with Carl they've skipped over in the TV series. It's unfortunate, I think. I don't look at him anywhere near as cool as the comic book series version, who's one of my top maybe 3 characters in the comic book series. The TV series, I don't even know if I'd put Carl Carl in a top 10. I think in my recent top 10s, I have to look at them to see the numbers, but I don't even think he's in my top 10, to be honest. That's the cool, as like best characters in the series. So that said, there are some people that do like him. Aaron Adams said, just putting this out there, I love Chandler Riggs' scene in the last episode. I don't know why everyone is hating. Carl is badass now. He's had a couple moments, especially like during No Way Out there when he fights with Ron and stuff, and when during JSS when they get attacked, he kind of springs into action, which is pretty cool. So, you know, it's not that bad. It's not the biggest disappointment in the series. Andrea probably takes the cake for that one as a character, but it's a pretty big disappointment, at least for me. I don't know. You guys can write your comments below. What do you think of Carl in the TV series version? I don't know if it's Chandler Riggs' fault. I don't want to blame him and say it's all his fault. I don't think that's true. It's just that, like, it's kind of like what they've given him. They haven't given him a lot of these crucial moments. They skipped over them or gave them to other characters that he had in the comics that makes Carl who he is. He doesn't have those in the TV series. So that's my 2 cents on that. But write your comments below. Let me know what you guys think right now about Carl, with this Sunday's episode probably being a heavy Carl episode. Hakudan2 says, once again, Negan said he has to shave this shit. When the hell is he gonna, though? Stop making promises, Negan. That's funny. I think he should. I think he does shave maybe in the next few, maybe mid-season, after mid-season finale, because we did see the actor who had it shaved at some point. So he probably will, I would think, around mid-season finale time. We'll see. Maybe he looks more badass with a beard. I don't know. Declan Wild says, please tell me what you think of this, Trev. Rick has blue eyes, but Lori and Shane have brown eyes. Judith has blue eyes. Doesn't this pretty much prove she's Rick's child? So, no, it doesn't. Also, see, this is the thing about doing math with a TV series. They cast certain actors, and I think they've recast Judith, maybe even more than once now, maybe a couple times now. So I think it's actually changed. I'd have to look at her eye color in the most recent episode. I'd have to look at the pictures I've got. But I believe they've changed the actress who plays Judith. The other thing is that trait can skip generations. So even if your parents did not necessarily have blue or green eyes or whatever, you could. It's possible you could, because maybe one of your grandparents did, or, it's possible for that trait to skip, and, not every generation, to have that exactly. Some could have, like, for example, Shane's dad could have blue eyes, or Shane's mom could have green eyes. So it doesn't really prove it either way, 100%. But, there's some substance to what you're saying, and it would make sense that if to have those traits be similar. And part of that is why, like I thought in the TV series version, it's possible it could be Rick's, because the amount of time that's left in between is different from the comics. Rick gets back. There's like a season, in between. There's some skips and stuff like that. So I felt like it was possible that it could be Rick's. But I guess with him, of course, having had Carl before, he knows that it's not his, because he didn't pour the biz quick to make pancakes. All right. Next one's from WalkingMed. Hey, Trev, if you had to go to watch 5 episodes from seasons 1 to 6 right now, what ones would you choose? I'm not asking for your top 5 episodes, just ones that, for example, you haven't seen for a while, maybe some that you just like to rewatch here and there. So that's from WalkingMed, and you guys can write your comments below on the Judith comment and what you think about that, and also for your top 5 episodes that you like to rewatch. So this is maybe one I could do a whole video on. I'd have to go through WalkingMed and like compare the guide and see which ones, are most rewatchable. It doesn't necessarily mean they're the best. Episodes like The Grove is pretty rewatchable, I think. Too Far Gone certainly is rewatchable. No Sanctuary I've probably seen a lot. No Way Out is another one that's pretty incredible. This season premiere for right now, season 7, that's definitely, I think, rewatchable, at least parts of it for sure. The ending is pretty sad, so you might want to skip that, but I think that's pretty rewatchable as well. Earlier episodes, the premiere, I think, will always be rewatchable, because from the first season, because it's like getting to see Rick at that time, getting to see him now is always cool. Some of the stuff with Merle, This Sorrowful Life, I think is really cool. Some of Shane's final episodes there. 18 Miles Out, I find to be a very rewatchable one for some reason. I don't know why. I just think it's a really great episode to rewatch. Better Angels. Some of the season 3 stuff is pretty cool. Some of the season 4 stuff is good, leading up to Too Far Gone and with Joe and the Claimers and that. Maybe the season 4 finale is really good. Is that called A? I forget. I'm just going off the top of my head here. But yeah, so there's lots of really good ones. There's lots from season 5 as well too, Conquer and that. So there's some really great episodes that are really watchable, and I think that's one of the strengths of The Walking Dead, is that you can go back and watch a particular season and it feels a bit fresh, because the thing is that The Walking Dead has so many different characters throughout it. You can go back and watch different seasons and get different feels, because season 2 had Shane and it's like, oh, that's totally different from now. Season 1, has a totally different feel. Season 3 with the governor and that, totally different. So it's a really rewatchable series, I think, more so than a lot of series, because it doesn't feel like you're watching something kind of outdated. It feels like you're watching something special, because those characters, most of them are not around anymore. If you watch season 2, most of those characters are dead at this point. There's very few season 2 leads that are still around. Dale, Shane, Andrea, many of the others, Herschel, lots of the others, they're not in the series anymore. So it's a little bit special, because you get to see those characters maybe that you like a lot that are not in the show anymore because they're killed off at some point. We'll do a couple more. Mr. Turtle 414311 says, noticed last season, season 6, the episode where Daryl gets shot and captured by Dwight, the episode was called East. And that's a cool point out from Mr. Turtle. So thanks, Mr. Turtle. I didn't mention that in the Morse code video, the I East message. But the episode is called East, and it's one of the best from the second half of season 6, I think, for sure. There's a rewatchable one where it's like Daryl versus Dwight, of course, after the Denise thing. And it's called East, and that's pretty cool. That's a nice call out. And some people think that the Morse code thing is nonsense. Some people, I like it personally. I think it's really cool. Some people don't think it's an Easter egg, but I don't think you would notice that by watching it without watching it very carefully, as you're going through. And some people also think that maybe Daryl blinking is just because he's in the sunlight for too long. That's from XL. He says Daryl blinking is because he hasn't seen the sun for so long. He is being kept in a cell all day, every day. When you don't get much sunlight or being kept in the dark, your eyes have to adjust to light, and that's why he's blinking so much. So that's true too. That's probably also something. But personally, I really like the Morse code idea. I think it's really cool, and I think that's what they're going for. I really do. So that'll be it for today's Q&A, guys. I'll see you again tomorrow for another. Keep sending me your questions for them. If you like this video, please thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite, and if you're new and you want to subscribe, bottom left to subscribe. I'll see you guys again soon. It's Trev. I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you. You better subscribe.